Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Imran and I work for Articamp. Articamp provides WordPress solutions to enterprises. And today we're going to talk about building OpenWeb with decoupled WordPress and Gatsby using GraphQL. So what we will cover in today's session will be introduction to OpenWeb. We'll talk about why did we choose Gatsby and WordPress with this project. And we also talk about the decoupled architecture. We'll discuss about performance, which is one of the key things that is required for most of the websites. We'll talk about rich content editing experience with Gutenberg, hybrid pages, a unified job board with Greenhouse that we have used for OpenWeb. We will also discuss about image optimization, which is really crucial for any website. And we'll discuss efficient API using WP GraphQL. And we'll also talk about the SEO-friendly website. All right, so let's begin. So let me introduce you to OpenWeb. OpenWeb, which was formerly Spot.im, had an in-house design team which enlisted Articamp to implement a website that would showcase their passion for clarity in communication and some really good high-quality use of OpenWeb technologies. Their idea was to use Gatsby with decoupled WordPress. So being a full stack engineer with specialization in React, Gatsby, GraphQL, I went ahead and led this project. And there were certain reasons why we chose Gatsby with WordPress. So let me share them with you. The first thing is that both Gatsby and WordPress are free and open source. So one of the many advantages of using open source is that you own your data. So by using WordPress, you're actually owning your data. And at the same time, you're working with an inclusive community. The next benefit is that Gatsby is blazing fast. One of the many things that makes Gatsby fast is that it is static. So many of us may think Gatsby as a static site generator, but there is more to it. And I will talk about that in this talk itself. So it goes ahead and pre-renders the pages, and all of the pages are statically generated, so it's already available for the user to use. Now, besides that, Gatsby employs GraphQL to execute minimum amount of data needed. This provides some extra efficiency for the time after the initial load. Now, another benefit that our client was particularly interested in was security. Now, static site generators like Gatsby are tremendously safe since there is no direct connection to the database, dependencies, user data, and other sensitive information. Now, apart from the benefits that Gatsby offers, there is something for developers as well. So Gatsby offers a great developer experience. You can use modern front-end libraries like React, and you can also use GraphQL. Now, because we are using a plugin called WP GraphQL, it also allows you to use a graphical playground in WordPress where you can test your queries, you can write your queries, and you can make sure they're working perfectly fine before you actually place them onto the front end. So I'm going to give you a demo of that just in a while. Now, one of the most important things why Gatsby with WordPress in a decoupled architecture has benefited us is that Gatsby offers content mesh, which means you can pull content from many sources, club them together, and put them onto the front end for the users to use. And last but not the least, the content migration is really easy. All right, now I'm going to show you the architecture of the project. On the front end, we have React with the Gatsby framework. And then in the backend, we have the WordPress with WP GraphQL plugin. So WP GraphQL plugin is a WordPress plugin that turns your WordPress into a GraphQL server, and you can make requests to /GraphQL. You can also change the endpoint if you want, but it just provides you one endpoint where you can make all of your queries, unlike REST API where you have several endpoints. So in the backend, you have one endpoint, which is /GraphQL, and you can make a request from the front end to this endpoint and get all of the data from WordPress. So when the request comes from the front end, we've also got Apollo client that takes that request. It offers you the structured data, caches, data graph, etc. So Apollo provides many benefits, and I'm sure many of you who have used Apollo already know the benefits of that. Then the request goes to /GraphQL, and WordPress goes ahead and gets the data. So it makes all of the query that it needs to, gets the data in form of JSON, and then this JSON data is used to create an HTML page server side. So you have a server side generated static HTML page that is then given to the front end for the user to use. Now, because it's statically generated, all of the data is already present, so that's why it's really, really fast. Now, one of the key things for a website is performance. And OpenWeb's rebranding for SpotIM was focused on implementing a modern design with no compromises. This means implementing not just a blazing fast website, but also fully featured and powerful editing experience. Articam built a statically optimized front end with a decoupled WordPress backend that delivered a time to first byte of less than 0.3 seconds and a first paint at less than a second. Now let's talk about the editing experience for OpenWeb. Now OpenWeb delivered brand guidelines totaling 100 pages of content. To meet their requirements, Articam developed in tandem with the OpenWeb design team, providing working results as their creative vision took shape. And it'll be interesting for you to know that we use WordPress Gutenberg to provide rich and engaging experience to the editors to write blogs. Let me give you a demo. So what we're going to do is we'll go to our WordPress dashboard and then go under Post and click on Add New. Once you do that, it's going to open up an editor for us, which will be the Gutenberg editor. And this is where I can add the title and write my content for my blog post. Okay, so I'm going to write the title, press release spot.im is now open web. Perfect. This is my title. I have some content available here, so I can just copy that for now to save time. And then when you're writing content in the Gutenberg editor, you have different blocks available. So there's a concept of block. Every component that we have here is a block. If you click on this plus icon that you see here, it allows you to add the block, and there's different blocks available. So you have block for paragraph, heading, list, quote. You have code block as well, so you can write quotes. And then you have table, you have media, so you have image, gallery, audio, video, cover. You can also add the YouTube embed as well. So there are lots of options available, and in case if there's any particular block that is not available, you can always look for a plugin in the block library and get the block as per your requirement. You could even create your custom block as well, and you can add it over here. So I'm going to start with the heading block. So I'll click on this plus icon here and look for the heading block. It's already here. Just click on that one, and I'm just going to paste my heading. I'm just going to copy this and then remove the bold option from there, and then I will add the rest of the content. So by default, if you just hit enter, as you can see on the right hand side, it says paragraph, right? So by default, paragraph block is selected. So if you want to write a paragraph, for example, in this case, I want to just write this paragraph. So I'll copy it and I'll paste it here. And as you can see, that the beauty of Gutenberg is that it has actually retained the format as well from Google Doc, which is pretty amazing, right? you can not only add the paragraph, but also you can format them. So you can make something bold, italic, you can make that as a link. So I can have different options for the link. I can put https:/openweb.com. All right, I can add that there, right? Let's remove this for now. And then similarly, you have options on the right hand side for typography, which is font size. You can change the font size, you can change the color of the text. So let's say this one, I can change it to blue color, and then I can change the background color as well. So there are many options available, and you can change it as per your needs. All right. So let's go ahead and add the rest of the paragraph. So I can copy this one, hit enter, add it here. And then if you want to add an image, there's an image block. So if you hit enter, you can also use / and look for an image block. So I click on image. You can either upload a new image, or you can also insert it from URL. You can you can also add the images that you've added as, you can also get the images that you've added in the media library before. So you can select from this, or you can very well just copy this image and then just paste it. That's it, right? So the different options available, and you can see how easy it is for you to use, especially for the ones who are non-technical, right? So I'm just going to finish the rest of my blog. I'll just copy this last piece of paragraph with some link text. I'm going to hit it and paste it. And now you can see that it's also maintained the format of the content, which is brilliant. All right, and once you're done that, you can also preview your blog. So you can click on the preview button and then click on preview, and then you can see that you're able to preview that blog as well, which is brilliant, right? And now once you're ready, you can publish the blogs. You can hit publish, and once you've published it, let's check it out in the front end. There you go, congratulations. So we've got our blog that's been published, and you've got the heading, written by, date, and then you've got the paragraph, the image, and everything that we had added. Isn't that amazing? Awesome, brilliant. And the best part is that we can also share this blog. So I can share it on Twitter, or I can do it on LinkedIn, right? So I have the option to share this article on social media as well, which is amazing. Okay, brilliant. Now, at this point, you must be wondering, what about forms? So for OpenWeb, we actually created the HubSpot form, and we have an example, which is OpenWeb Impact Calculator, which is using HubSpot form. And we can fill in our information here. Let's say rtcam.com, select a vertical, total monthly spend, total monthly editorial page view, then total monthly visitor, average page view per session, average session duration, click next, just fill in your details. Let's say I do that, this one, job title, software developer, and let's submit this form. Show me the impact. So this form basically tells you how OpenWeb is going to improvise on your yearly revenue and help you lift your average page view per session, and also increase the number of the active users, and it'll help you build deeper relationship with your audience. So basically this entire form is built using HubSpot, and the data comes from the backend. Now for comments, OpenWeb is using its own integration. So as you can see, you can go ahead and comment it over here, right, and send it. And SpotIM also has a pretty extensive documentation for the SpotIM comments integration as well. Now another interesting thing that we built for OpenWeb is the multilingual pages. So we had a requirement of two pages to be built in multilingual. So we have two versions, one is English and second is German. So let me show that to you. So let's go to legal and privacy, and I'm going to go to privacy page. So this is the English version, and then if you put DE in the URL, then you're going to get the German version. So you can see that this is the German version, right? And let me show you the backend as well. So as you can see in the backend, we have this icon here for the German version of the page, and we have got the English version of the page as well, right? And what we're using for this one is the Polylang and Polylang Slug WordPress plugin. And basically, when you do a query, so let's say if you do a query for that page, what you'll notice is that if I hit enter, I'm going to get two versions of the pages. One is the German version and the other one is the English version. Okay, so we have used the create pages API to generate the two versions of the pages, and they will be available to you at those URLs. All right. Now, as I mentioned before, we are using a WP GraphQL plugin, which is an open source WordPress plugin that provides an extensible GraphQL schema and API for our WordPress site. So once you go ahead and activate this plugin, you get a GraphQL playground called GraphQL within WordPress itself. And then let's say if you want to have the blog posts, there are different queries that are available. So let's say I want posts. So I can go ahead and click on posts, and then I can click on notes. And let's say I want the ID, and then I want the title of the post, URI, slug, and we want the post content. So we should have content over here. All right. And then we've got a query available here. And then if you hit play, you'll notice that on the right hand side, we've got the post content, we've got the ID, we've got title, URI. So we've got all of the data from WordPress in JSON format, right? So you've got multiple posts. So this is post 1, 2, 3, and so on and so forth, right? Now, WP GraphQL is often faster than WP REST API because, like I just demonstrated you, that it gives you the exact data that you ask for. Fewer function executing, less data downloading, and also multiple resources in a single request. And the best part is that the WP GraphQL plugin is also extendable, that allows us to easily hook into and add new GraphQL fields as per our needs. Now, many of us might feel that, can we use Gatsby only for generating static sites, or can we also get the dynamic data? So let me explain to you that with OpenWeb, we created the performant hybrid pages. We used a combination of static content, which is loaded on initial render, and then also dynamic content. And by gathering the data ahead of time while the site builds, allows the data to be already available when the user loads the page. Then for a data that is of more dynamic nature, for example, when loading more articles, we make a client-side request to get the data from WordPress. And the result of this process created fast loading pages and a nice user experience. We also had a requirement of creating a unified job board with Greenhouse. So in case of OpenWeb's job board, Articam made use of the Greenhouse API to cause the job listings administered on Greenhouse to display natively within the site across multiple locations. The end result is one cohesive website that displays content no matter what source, whether WordPress or Greenhouse. And that is what we called content mesh, which is getting data from multiple resources and clubbing them together to create a unified user experience. Now, another key thing to discuss is that adding responsive images to your site while maintaining high performance scores can be difficult to do manually. Now, the best part is that we used Gatsby image plugin that handles the hard part of producing images in multiple sizes and formats using the Sharp library. So this plugin is called Gatsby Transformer Sharp. It creates image shop nodes from image types and provides fields for processing your images in a variety of different ways, including resizing, cropping, and creating responsive images. We also use the plugin called Gatsby Plugin Shop, and this plugin basically is a helper plugin that exposes several image processing functions built on the Shop image processing library. We also use the Gatsby source file system, which is the Gatsby plugin, and that sources data from your local file system and creates file nodes from files. Now, since we wanted to optimize the WordPress images, we also used a brilliant plugin called Gatsby Plugin GraphQL Image. So this plugin traverses a GraphQL schema sourced from the Gatsby source GraphQL plugin and generates the file nodes for used with Gatsby Plugin Shop and Gatsby Transformer Shop. Now you must be wondering, there's so many plugins. Well, that's the beauty of Gatsby. It's extensible. If you want a particular feature, all you have to do is just add a plugin and you can get that feature. So once we add those plugins, so this is the shape of the fields that we query for featured image. So with featured image, we query the source URL shop, child image shop, fluid, base64, aspect ratio, etc. And this is what we get in form of JSON, where we have the ID, title, featured image, source URL shop, base64. So we have got all of the data available for the image. Okay, then all we do is we just import the image from Gatsby image, and then we use this particular image component where we pass the data for the image, which is fluid, and also the alt text. Now, one of the major concerns for most of the React website is the SEO. Now, the benefit of having the frameworks like Gatsby is that it offers the server-side rendering out of the box. However, when you are under WordPress environment, you use plugins like Yoast, and that takes care of your meta and the schema side of things, right? But when you are in decoupled architecture, those things are not available out of the box. Now, the good news is that we have a plugin available called WP GraphQL Yoast SEO. What this plugin does is basically it goes ahead and provides you with all of the meta fields that you need to construct your meta tags onto the front end into the GraphQL field itself. So let me show that to you. So if you remember, this was our posts query, and we have the content slug. I'm going to get rid of all of this for now. I'll just keep it as title. And then there's another field available called SEO. And then if you check on the left hand side under the Explorer, in the SEO, we have certain data available. We have canonical, we have meta description, we have got the open graph title, we also got the schema available, and then we also have Twitter title. So all of the meta information is available. We even have the breadcrumbs available over here, right? And as you can see, I've added all of this, and then if I hit play, there you go. So you can now see that you've got your SEO details like open graph title, breadcrumbs, etc. Right? Now, if you go onto the front end, and let's say I go to any of the blogs, let's say this one, and if I open the elements tab, and if I check the head section, you'll notice that we've got all of the meta tags available. So if you scroll down, you've got the OG site name, Twitter card, you also got the OG local, we've got the meta description, Twitter description, and then we also have this canonical, meta title, OG URL, OG image, OG title, OG description. So you can see that we've got everything that we need related to the SEO, which is amazing. So if you check this plugin, you can see you've got all of these fields available under SEO once you go ahead and activate this plugin, right? And you can not only get it for posts, you can get it for the taxonomies as well, for users as well. So you've got all of that information available, which is brilliant. So as a result, The new OpenWeb website is now a platform to showcase their expertise in high quality performance and communications, and as a team, we delivered a showcase for their excellent use of animation, brand, and design implementation without compromises. Perfect. Now for your references. All right. So if you want to take a look at an example Gatsby WordPress theme code, you can go to github.com/imranhsayed/Gatsby WordPress themes. For the WP GraphQL plugin, you can go to github.com/WP-GraphQL. And if you have any questions related to the project, or if you have any queries, you can definitely contact us at hello@articam.com. Brilliant. So thank you very much, everyone. My name is Imran. I'm a software engineer at Articam, and you can find me at Imran8Sayed on Twitter. So please do follow me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is @Imran8Sayed. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.